Venture City, your source for innovative ideas as told by founders. Today's guest, Steve Verma, shares his founding story of Areezo, a real estate investment platform that makes real estate investment data accessible and rental management seamless. I'm Victoria Principato, and this is Venture City. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on Venture City.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So to kick things off, maybe you could tell myself and listeners a little bit about your background and what inspired you to start Areezo.
Sure. My name is Steve Verma. I've been in tech business for the last 20 years. I worked for a lot of Fortune 50 companies as well. And then I ran a couple of businesses in past, 5, 6 years, like a mobile as a studio. And in last 3 years, I've been building software for real estate industry. So I work with a brokerage firm, I work with a REIT company and a couple of other startups as well. And I'm also a realtor in Florida. So, I found a problem in real estate that I wanted to solve. So that's how we started Areezo.
That's awesome. And yeah, you leveraged, I guess, your technology background to do that. So maybe you could tell me, since you are a realtor and you have that background, tell us a little bit about the problem that you found in real estate that you are trying to solve.
Sure. So last year, I went to Miami because I wanted to buy an Airbnb property for myself. So when I'm in the city, I can stay there, and if I'm not, I can go ahead and rent it. So that was my original, goal. But when I started, on that journey, it became harder and harder as I went along. Right. First, I had to go to different places to get the proper listing. I didn't even know where to go look for a property. And once I did, find something, it was very hard for me to get some sort of analytics so I can understand, hey, what kind of investment income I can generate from this property. I had to go beg my, realtor to get some data as well. And when I closed that deal, I had to go spend a lot of time prepping my property for the rental. So the old tenant was moving out. I had to go, furnish the property. I had to go, find someone who can do other small things like handyman and all that, and then ultimately find a property manager who can manage it. So that whole process took a long time. And so when I reflected on it, and that's when Areezo was born. Areezo was born. So we wanted to provide a one single platform where you can discover, you can analyze, and you can connect. So that means you can find the properties that you like, you can get all the analytics on your fingertips, and you can connect with a realtor to close the deal. And once you close the deal, you can go ahead and hire someone like a concierge manager who can prep your property for rental. So it's kind of like an end-to-end solution for someone who wants to invest in a rental property.
Yeah, I think that's so useful because I know that the real estate market is really like localized and it can be hard to break in to those markets from different locations. It doesn't necessarily like just because you're investing doesn't mean you necessarily want to live in that location, especially, with different up and coming markets. So this is actually like a really efficient way to buy and manage properties effectively.
Because it's such a tedious process, what happens, most people just try to find or build their rental portfolio in the area where they live, right? So for example, living in San Francisco, you're gonna probably want to build something there because it's easy for you, right? But what happens then, they miss out on all these rental markets around the country that are really much better than the place where they're living, right? So for example, Miami, Orlando, Austin, for example, right? So it doesn't allow them to participate in these hot rental markets around the country because it is so hard to manage this whole process.
Yeah. So just again, restate, you kind of saw this issue, these two main challenges of investors spending a lot of time finding and analyzing different real estate markets and having difficulty finding clear and accurate data. So that's like one, challenge. And then properties being difficult to maintain up to purchase and between renters. So Areezo kind of is this like two-tiered approach, would you say, of kind of solving both of those issues?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. So maybe could you get it a little bit more into Areezo's solution to these problems? How does Areezo kind of obtain and manage this data that's hard to come by? And then, how does it help manage these different properties?
Right. So when we designed this product, we wanted to make sure that we give them the accurate data. That was the number one priority.
Mhm.
Number two, we wanted to make sure we give them personalized results, right? So rather than just finding thousands of listings, there has to be a way to, match the listings to their personal goal. So what
Mhm.
happens so they can download our iOS app that we're planning to launch next month, or they on our web app, which we're also launching next month. Um, when they start on this journey, they answer simple questions. It takes about 30 seconds to answer those questions. And based on the answers of their questions, our AI-based engine actually presents them live listings from MLS. So this is the same source where everybody has the data. But when we pull the data, we show them that matches their goal. And now they can browse through these listings. They can click on a listing, and they can get all the analytics data. What is the rental income? What is the cap rate? What is the ROI? What is the cash over cash ROI?
Mm.
Things like that, right? Things that most, I would say, new investors are probably not even aware that they should be looking at these things. So we try to make it very simple for them. They onboard, they answer questions, they get a list of properties on the screen that matches their goal. They click on it, it shows them analytics. If they like the property, there's an they can push a button, connect with the realtor who specializes in investment properties, who can help them close the deal. And once they finish the deal, they can come back to the app, to our marketplace, where they can find a list of hand-picked vendors for all the things that they might need, like a painter, a plumber, or a property manager. Or if they don't have time, they can just hire our concierge manager, and that concierge manager is going to help them prep their plan, come up with a plan to prep their property for rental. So
Wow.
that's the end-to-end solution, and it's all it's going to be on iOS app as well as a web app.
Could you talk a little bit more about, I guess, the pricing model? Like, how is someone able to access all this information and this network?
Right. So obviously, there's a lot of cost involved in maintaining this, the platform and getting the data. So it's not a free platform; it's a subscription-based platform. So
Right.
investors can come in and they can purchase one of the subscription packages, like $19, $39, and $99 per month. And then once they buy the package, they have certain quota depending on the package that they're buying in terms of how many leads they can get and how many listings they can see, things like that. We
Wow.
also have another feature, we call it a daily deal feature in our app. So that's where if they don't want to browse through hundreds of listings, they can just go to this section and it's going to present them one listing depending on their personalized goal. So those are the things that they get when they subscribe to the platform.
Got it. So it's actually really nice that it has like that tailored feature to each user,
Right.
which I definitely think can help narrow things down and make the, I guess, real estate purchasing process a little less overwhelming. Could you tell me a little bit more about what stage Areezo's in right now, and what are your future plans and goals for the company?
So we rolled out our MVP back in June and July timeframe, and since then we have been testing with different types of users. So we've been testing with investors. We're also testing with realtors to see
Mm.
how realtors see this. And through this journey, we found out that there is a use case for realtors as well. So realtors can come in, they can get all this data instant, on the spot if they're trying to serve a customer who is calling them to find property, right? So it's very hard for realtors to come up with this whole rental data for their customers so they can also get benefits when they come to this platform. So that was a new use case we discovered as we went through this process. But we went through this whole MVP process in last 4 months. Now we're kicking off our public beta next month. So as soon as we get the approval from Apple, and then we're going to roll out on iOS as well as on web in January. And now we're actively going through our seed funding round as well. So once we close the
Wow.
seed funding, that's when we're going to launch it. So we got accepted in an accelerator called New Chip. It's out of Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
So that was very exciting for us.
Yeah, that is
We
very
got some
exciting.
validation.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We got some validation. So they've been helping us with this whole fundraising round. So once we close the fundraising, then we're gonna, launch it in Florida. That's the phase one. We're gonna launch in Miami and Orlando in phase one, and then we're gonna go to other states like Texas and California.
Well, that's very exciting. And, it must be really cool for you to kind of see your vision come to life of, democratizing the real estate investment space by making the entire investment and rental management experience a little bit more seamless. So, congratulations. That's so exciting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting, especially because this whole space is kind of dominated by big companies, and
Uh huh.
obviously because they have resources, they have full-time staff and everything, right?
Right.
It's individual investors who are trying to build a 1 to 10, rental property portfolio is kind of hard for them. So we're trying to help them.
Well, that's awesome. And, I think you're filling in a very important gap. So, best of luck to you with everything. Do you have any parting words, anything else that you want to share with listeners about Areezo?
Our vision is really, you should have power in your palm that you push a button and you buy an investment property anywhere in the country without
Mhm.
stepping a foot in the city. That's our ultimate goal.
Well, that's very exciting. And I can't wait to see where you head next. Thank you so much, Steve, for your time. This has been an awesome conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.